Hello and welcome to Being Human Hidden Depths by Collaboration Global. And my name is Gill Tiney. I'm the founder of a community that comes together to enhance collaboration in business and further afield. We have a regular member coming into our podcast so we can show off about them. And one of our newest members is a young man called Thiery Wirngo. And he has made a huge impact on my life, not only because he's supporting me around the SEO for our podcast and our videos, but also in his outlook on life. So although he's one of our younger members, I believe 22, is it, Thierry?
Yes.
22 years of age, he has wisdom way beyond his years. So hopefully you will have a lovely time listening to this conversation. But welcome, Thierry. It's such a joy to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. So we came about by accident, didn't we? You came to Collaboration Global because I was looking for somebody to stop me pulling my hair out and helping me with my social media. And you answered an advert for, you're a student at Portsmouth University, and you answered an advert and we got chatting. What were your first impressions when you kind of found out about what we were doing? Did you think we were all a bit weird?
To be frankly honest with you, Jill, I answered the advert and I read through the description, but I thought it wasn't going to pull through. So I almost forgot about it till you set up the meeting. And when you set up the meeting, I was like, oh, I have to sort of catch up with stuff. But I like uni and work, I wasn't able to catch up. But when we started talking during the meeting, for some unknown reason, it was just like this energy, this clicking. I don't know how to even explain it. It was, I think I said I was planning, or I wanted to bring change to the world. And you were it just lighted up, and I was like, whoa. I remember now. It's like almost subconsciously I had gone through the website and I had seen all the stuff you guys had been doing. And like subconsciously, that was the thing that stood out to me.
Yeah. Well, this is what blew me away, because you don't get many 22-year-olds saying out loud, I want to change the world. And I do remember you saying, I said, so what do you want to do in your life? What do you want to do? And, you know, and you were like, oh, I can't say because it's crazy. It's like, and you were kind of hesitant in actually saying it out loud. The minute you did, I was like, oh my goodness, I found this wonderful person that is on the same plane, the same crazy trajectory that we are on as well. And it just felt beautiful and perfect. And I'm so glad that you decided to join the community as well. So tell us what you're studying. You're at uni at the moment. What's going on?
Okay, I'm in my second year currently. I'm doing a law with international relations degree at the University of Portsmouth. It's a law degree. It's really tasking and so much reading. Yeah. I think I added the international relations side to it because I also like a bit of theory. I like philosophy a lot. I used to do philosophy a lot in secondary school. Was, one of those subjects where it just funnels you and you just focus only on that and you just block out everything else. So because of that, I eventually added the IR degree just to make the law degree not seem as taxing. And I like it. I like it. It's a good balance, I think.
And what's your plans once you've got that tucked under your belt, that you've got your degree, maybe a first even, if you work hard enough? What are you planning to do with that?
That is a nice question. Next year, or starting in July, I'm doing a placement at the Bank of England.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm trying to get myself, because I'm thinking of a future within business. And I want to see how that ties into my law degree. So there's a law route that you can take, not like the traditional solicitor or barrister route. It's called SILEX, as a legal executive. I'm planning on doing that, but I want to first of all see how I fit into a corporate or business world, and just to really know if it's for me, because I don't really think it is, but I can't say for sure if I haven't experienced it yet.
That is such a good idea. I remember once one of my daughter's friends said, can you help me get a placement? And he was an outgoing, outdoor, sailing, swimming, crazy outdoor kind of guy. And I said, okay, what sort of business? He went accountancy. I was like, really? You sure? And he went and worked there for a few months and he loved it. He absolutely, and I thought never, and I thought he wouldn't last 2 days. Never in a million years was he going to do that. But it's that you don't know till you try, do you?
That is one of my biggest fears. That's why I was even laughing when you were saying that, because I'm really outdoorsy. I did a Tough Mudder just like earlier last year. Like
Wow.
I don't like being indoors. I just don't know why. I just
Yeah.
don't like being indoors. So like I just want to try and see if I can really fit into that world. But like stories like this, and like you're not the first person that's told me that. It's like it's okay. It might seem taxing at first, but eventually you just get used to it. And it's not like you can't go outdoors. It's not like you,
Yeah.
yeah,
Not trapped.
yeah.
Yeah, I know that feeling though, because I've always found that when I was told I had to be at a certain place at a certain time and you're not allowed to leave until a certain time, it's kind of because these are your work hours. It's like, oh, what if you finished what you had to do and you've got to go and find more work? And it was just kind of really frustrating for me to be restricted like that. But I think so many workplaces now are aware that being outdoors, being connected in some way to nature, try and find an office by a park, to be able to go out. It's good for your mental health, isn't it? It's going to be
It is.
keeping you sane in a crazy world that in essence, that's what you're going to be getting involved with if you're in the city and in a corporate space. It's a different world to what most people are used to, I think.
I think that's one of the biggest things I found that really scared me about the city, because I come from a very, very small town in Cameroon called Bamenda. It's a really small town. Like comparing that to the cities, like 1 to 1 million almost, in terms of like the people, in terms of like the way the streets are, the movement and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't know if you can understand this. Even I've noticed also with my mom. It's like something when you come from like a small background, from a small town, a small area, your vision of the world is almost like really paper thin. You see things almost like subtly, like everything's really slow. But
Mm.
all of my friends that I know now, like come from like bigger cities and like lived in like Amsterdam or like Paris or like London and stuff like that, their view of the world is so large. It's like things are just whizzing by constantly. And I because I have lived in both scenarios, I'm like now finding myself in the middle. Like sometimes my mind's just going wee, 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 wee. Other times because
Yeah.
of course I've lived in like the village as well. My mind just like calms down. It's like, oh, there's nothing to worry about. Just sit down, chill.
It's true, isn't it? It's so I've been brought up in a city in London, and now I'm living in a village, and it is this kind of like, oh, it's different. And why is it different? I'm quite comforted being in a city. I like the buzz, I like the noise, but I don't think the older I get, the less I can take that buzz and that noise. It's invigorating, it's energizing, but it's nice to be in a village where it's mellow and it's chill and everyone says hello and you have a
Yeah,
little chat to a stranger. Um, there's no right or wrong, is there? It's just different, and
just
different
like different
people.
scenarios. Yeah, I feel it's good to experience both of it though, because as you said, like in village, people will say hello, how you doing today? If someone says hello to me in London, what do you want?
Yeah,
I'm
that's true.
I have to catch the train. I have to do something. There's no time, you know. It's just different. They're different worlds almost.
Although I have had some really interesting conversations with strangers, usually on the tube. In fact, I was going down the tube once and this lady tapped me on the shoulder and I sort of turned around. She went, I really love your jacket. And then she was off. I was like, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. And it's just little things like that that people can make a difference, can't they? And make it have a smile with somebody going the opposite direction. Although in London, most people are looking down at the floor and not really paying much
But
attention.
you find the odd person that just like brings a spark to your day in the city though. I don't, even if they don't talk to me, sometimes in London, like just seeing the way people dress sometimes, it just
Yeah.
like brightens my day for some unknown reason. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, is that the decision for today? Wow, I like it. That person thinking about he's wearing like 6 foot heels or something like that. What's going through his mind? It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's like, what are the possibilities? It amazes me. I don't know. That's why I like
Yeah.
the city. just the possibilities and like the energy is crazy.
Because ultimately, we're all connected, aren't we? This is the thing that we talk about at Collaboration Global, that, you know, we're all one huge human race and we are all connected. And it's those little things, those quirks, those differences, those big differences that don't have to make us go, oh, why is she wearing those trousers? You can, you know, it's like, oh, she's wearing those trousers. Interesting choice. It's an attitude of kind of seeing people from this is your life and this is my life, and you choose your life and I'm going to choose my life, and we're going to be good for each other and we're going to support each other and help each other along the way. You've probably heard me say several times about one of our values being human being first. But when you first heard that, or you've heard the whole values, the whole thing that we do, love being the foundation, human being first, and then collaboration, the being of collaboration rather than the doing of it. How do you feel about human being first? Does that resonate with you?
With human being first, at first I didn't understand it because I thought, isn't that what is happening already? Is all of this not like human being first? It's because like you would think in the world's run by human beings. It's like almost, in my opinion, at first it was like, oh, this is common sense. Like, what does she mean? I realized that it has like a deeper resonance to it. It's like you would think it's just typically what everyone's thinking about, but everyone's not thinking about human being first. Let me not say everyone, like the majority of people are not thinking human being first. They're thinking about me first, then human being. And it can't work that way because you're always going to be a human being first. And if you're thinking, of course, you have to like consider, oh, what can I do for myself today and stuff like that. But if what you're doing the majority of time is in conflict with other human beings, you're gonna run into some trouble sooner or later. And I've seen it clearly in my own life. It's like back in secondary school, because I went to a boarding school. I used to always have these up-on-ending conflicts with people. And that was because I was thinking about me first and then them. And the funny thing is, I would win in some of these conflicts, but along the road, like it might have not even been this month, maybe next month, another issue would just pop up. And it just kept on stressing me out. And that's because I was concentrating just on myself, on like, how do I make the most out of this? How do I gain from these people? Oh,
wow.
It ended up being like this upending game like every single month. And it showed in my results in school, especially in that particular secondary school, because I wasn't doing well because I was thinking about like upending people, like removing people from positions and stuff like that. And it's a toxic cycle, I think. But eventually, this is not for me. I came free.
It's interesting how people do view things as like, yeah, I've got to protect myself. I've got to look after number one. I've got to make sure I'm the best. I'm better than the competition. And just what you've described there, every single month having to be better, and the stress that must have been coming on you.
I forgot I was in school because I wanted to study.
Yeah.
And this is so crazy, Joe. You might not even know this, but the school was an only boys secondary school, Catholic secondary school. You would think in a group of men that everybody would not, and I don't know, but like you would think that there won't be like competition in that level because there are no females there. Competition was crazy. It was so crazy. It made no sense. It made no sense. But when you're in it, you don't think of anything else. It's just, oh, how do I get better at him? He said something yesterday. I don't like that. I'm going to find a way to cut him off from the group. It was crazy. I was probably like 14 or 15 now. We're acting out group politics and it was crazy. I'm gonna cut him off from the group. I'm gonna do this to him.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It begs the question whether it's a good idea to have separate sex schools. I went to an all-girls school at that age. And I loved it, to be fair. It wasn't like Mean Girls. It was, we all pretty much got on. Mainly because our class was the naughtiest class in the school. Yeah, not me, obviously. But all the bullies and the big bad girls were in my class. But because I was there by association, I was safe and I wasn't bullied by other classes. So I quite liked it, and we all became mates, and it was fine, you know. And they weren't that bad. It's just they had a reputation to uphold from a previous school, so they came in heavy.
It's crazy how things like that, even at such a young age, matters so much. It's like I know people, you just said it, like had a reputation from another school. When I left that boarding school and I went to another one, I had a reputation from that school that I had to upkeep in this new school. Instead of me like finding a new path for myself, I ended up like reliving some stuff that I had already done.
Wow.
It made no sense. I just found it so crazy. Like, why am I doing this to myself again?
But that's why we have the human being first message, is because it's about who you are being. You know, we have so many labels attached to us. Oh, he's the tall one, he's the short one, he's the fat one, he's the loud one, he's the shy one, he's the black one, he's the white one, he's the gay one, he's the straight one, he's the whatever it is. Label, 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 label. You're a human being first. So who are you being? Are you being kind? Are you being caring? Are you being considerate? Are you being compassionate? Do you have empathy? All that kind of being, rather than, and that informs what you do. So a lot of the time we talk about this phrase, I don't know if you've heard of it, be, do, have. And most people work from the have to get to the be. I want to have all of this stuff, so I'm going to do all of these things, and then I can be happy. Where in reality, if you work on your being first, I'm going to be kind, I'm going to be compassionate, I'm going to be excited by life, I'm going to be imaginative, I'm going to be curious, I'm going to be creative, I'm going to be adventurous. So what am I going to do? So these are all things I'm going to do. And hey, look all the stuff I have, all this cool stuff, because of all the being I am. And I like who I am. And that being is good for other people as well. And so it moves on. So we have to consider every day, what jacket are we putting on? What label am I wearing today? Well, let's not wear a label. Take me as you find me. This is who I am. Yes, I am white. Yes, I am straight. Yes, I am a Christian. Yes, I am short. Yes, I could probably do to lose a few pounds. Yes, I like Earth, Wind and Fire. No, I don't like football. All label, label, label. I'm not, these are my opinions, these are my thoughts, but ultimately I'm a loving, compassionate human being who wants to be the best I can be in order to serve and help as many people as I can. And I think that frame of mind is what you came into. You already had that. That was a given. You probably hadn't realized it, but the energy that you were giving off, even through a Zoom call, because we still haven't had a hug yet, even though you're not that far away from me, but that energy that you were giving off was that compassionate, kind, caring, attentive, listening, adventurous, creative person. So your being is of a beautiful essence already without you even trying. But having said that, you've gone through an awful lot of learning in your very short life of only 22 years to get to that space already.
I'm gonna just what you just said about going from having to being. I will not lie to you. You should probably write a book about that, because I found that is a major problem back home from where I come from. In the society that I live in now, even with the communities that I interact with now, they're all focused on having stuff. Oh, I need to have this and then I'll be happy. I need to get this job and then I'll be happy. And then it doesn't come, and they just get so depressed. It's like, why are you allowing a thing or a job or a position to take you down to that level? And it's like, it makes no sense to me, because I've seen people. My dad passed away when I was about 9 years old. Imagine it, of course, at the onset of it, having that role model, or like having that person there probably would have helped my mother. But she told me that she totally just pushed it aside and was like, oh, this has happened. This is a reality. I think when you think of having something too much, you almost like hold on to it, and then you forget that, oh, I'm this person and I can still do this. That woman, I owe everything to that woman entirely, because I'm here because of her today.
Yeah.
Entirely because of her. And like coming from like a West African country in 2009, the legal and her legal and political situations were not good, but she was able to almost cajole, because I've noticed, and this might be me generalizing it, women don't have like the assertive power that most men have, but she was able to powerfully, in quotes, move these circles and get what she needed for us and secure, because my dad was a rancher and a landowner.
Right.
To secure all that property and all of those assets, the majority of it, because some stuff, of course, she had to like allow for other people to take away, but she was like, oh, they can have that. Those are just chunks. It's just some stuff. And I've seen the way it's allowed her to grow. She just took up a VP role at a credit union back home.
Wow.
And it isn't anything to her. It's like just a side thing she does. The majority of the time she just goes farming because she doesn't even care that much. And I'm like, wow, how is this happening? Because that's not the way I've been taught. And it might not be because of her, but that's not the way the world has taught me to live. It's for me, I thought it was about having stuff. But for her, it's just about being okay with the way things are and being happy.
And women are so strong when they have children that they are protecting and supporting. And again, I've already said love is one of our foundations. If you've got that love there for another being, whether that's a dog or a cat or a human, you can move mountains. You can make so much happen. And
it works. It just works. It's not logical.
Well, it depends where your logic is coming from. I think it's very logical from where I'm sitting. And good luck. And I think that's a book you need to write, is your mum's story. I think that sounds amazing. But going back to why other people are wanting the stuff is I can understand that, because we've been kind of taught that's capitalism has taught us through the media, through marketing, through the news and everything. It's like we need to aspire, we need to buy stuff all the time, and it's just we're bombarded by it. So that's why we think, yes, if I have that, then I'll be happy. If I have that, then I can be happy. And what you've already said is that it's be happy now, and don't wait to have all that list of things ticked off before you go, right, I've made it. Because it's like Richard Branson. I saw an interview on television last night with him, and he was probably happy at the age of 16 when he started his first business, or happier than when he was at school learning, because he was punished for being dyslexic. It hadn't been invented then. And now he's still happy, even though he's a billionaire, because he's doing good for the world. That's his mission. And the interviewer was accusing him of not paying his tax, which some people would say, because he lives on a Caribbean island. So actually, that's his home. And then he said that I have a salary, that I give it away every month to charity. I don't have an income. And all of my businesses pay their taxes where they reside, whatever country they are in, they are based. So the company pays all of its taxes. So you can see why he's trying to do the best for everyone, and he's still talking. Because of his status, he now has access to the leaders of the world. So he can actually have an influence, which was where you're coming from. Because I remember when I first spoke to you, you said you wanted to be able to help people across the world to understand what their rights are.
Yes.
So that they can do as much as they possibly can. I love that whole idea around supporting young people as they grow to understand, and maybe to support and help change law along the way if it isn't supporting and helping young people, because if we don't have young people being brave enough, adventurous enough, creative enough to start their own business, then that's where the changes are going to happen. And I think it's already started to happen a little bit in with the B corporations, where you have a business for good. And so many people are kind of jumping on, not a bandwagon as such, but are realizing that, you know, you can't wait for the big corporates to make the change to make our world safer and cleaner and nicer and friendlier. You have to start doing something yourself. And you're doing that even at university, where you kind of got that idea and it's like, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm taking it.
And I see that I did a video, I did an SEO for one of our videos. I think it was Alan Brown. I can't remember his name. It was just yesterday, but he was talking about like how capitalism has caused us to just put our problems aside, and we're pushing it to the next country, who's then pushing it to the next country.
Yeah.
Like I'm no issues with the technology and all the prosperity that capitalism has brought to us, but like if we keep on pushing it, eventually it will circle back.
Yeah.
There's if you're throwing out, if you're not recycling, or like if we're using so much plastic, eventually China or like Ghana, where I think most of the technological waste goes to, will not be able to hold all that waste, and will eventually come back somewhere. It has to land. It's waste.
Yeah.
It's still here, and
yeah. Sorry, go on.
And like with the B corporations that you've been talking about, I think that is the only way forward. And I don't like to be dogmatic, but like I think there are always multiple ways to arrive at something. But
yeah,
I think that's the only way forward at this point, because if we just keep producing carelessly and not think about, oh, how does this affect the local community here, or how does this affect the world as in general, it will be catastrophic. I don't know, but I think there's hope. There's always hope.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember Simon Sinek podcast, A Little Bit of Optimism, where he said, you know, everyone puts their rubbish in their bins and puts it at the end of their drive and they expect it to go away. Where is away? It just means that rubbish is somebody else's problem. You can't keep living with that mindset, can we? We have to kind of realize, if we were told to keep our own rubbish, everyone would start recycling pretty damn quick. You know, it's just, and being aware of the packaging that they're taking on board, and being aware of the waste that's happening. I've moved from one district to another where we used to, all of our food waste would go into a pot and it would be collected and it would be, you know, utilized and for the farmers and all the rest of it. And in this district, it doesn't happen. So our food goes out with our normal waste, which goes into landfill, which doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Not used. Yeah.
There's so much, you know, used oil from takeaways and things can be used to supply fuel, can't it, for certain vehicles. So it's like all the solutions are already out there. It's just we have to make more of them. And I keep going back to Gina Gardner, one of our members, talks about radical responsibility. And we all have to realize that just because we have convenience doesn't mean to say it's good for everybody in the planet. And what we are taking for granted, there are other countries in the world who haven't even got yet. And we need to make sure that they come up to, oh, excuse me, they come up to our standard and they get the benefits, but without the damage, because we have now learned, hopefully, to not create so much damage.
And it's like what you're saying with, I don't think it should be called radical responsibility, because it's just the logic. I think it's just the best responsible choice at this moment. It's like,
yeah,
I've watched so many David Attenborough. We had a David Attenborough day here at the university, and
wow,
this guy has given so much information out. It's just what's left now is just to be actionable on this information. I remember there was one video, and it's on Netflix as well. They did a chart about how far it is till we can't go back, and we are surprisingly very, very close.
Yeah.
We are really, really close.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know people always think about, oh, what will happen with the profits, or how we live, people need to eat and stuff like that. And I understand this. I grew up in a third world country. People do need to eat, but how long are they gonna eat for is the question. If it's not sustainable, you can eat today and then starve tomorrow. It doesn't make any sense to me. So like with the B corporation, with ideas, because many of these ideas, like you said, like with the oil and turning the oil into like hydroflow, I think is the idea. With ideas like that, these ideas are already out there. It's just not being worked on. David Attenborough gave so much information out. It's just to work on it. It's just the action. And this actionable bit is what I've tried to incorporate into my own life, because I used to have a lot of, I said I did philosophy. There was a lot of thinking behind this. It's all taking up all this information, just eating it up, gobble, 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 but don't do anything with it. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Eventually, when I realized that, oh, some of this stuff I can actually use in my life, it has changed the way I view things completely. And like even doing some of the videos, when I go through the video, because I need to go through it to create the SEO. Yeah. When I go through the video and I listen to what your speakers say, to what these speakers say, I'm like, this stuff has like actionable, there's some actionable points here. And I can use these things in my life. And when I do, because I've tried a lot of them out. When I do, the change is it's crazy. It's like, how did I not think about this myself? Like it just made sense. It's like, how did I not know?
Yeah. Well, in life, there's the stuff that we know. There's the stuff that we know we don't know. Like, I know I'm not a brain surgeon, I couldn't do that. But then there's like most of it, of the circle, 45%, sorry, 3/4 of the circle is stuff we don't know we don't know. And until somebody tells you, it's like, oh God, yeah, I didn't see that. It was right in front of me and I didn't catch on. And that's why we need a community to kind of share our skills and our expertise and our specialisms, our genius. Everyone's got genius within them. What would you say your genius is, Thierry?
My genius is probably people. And I don't know how that's a genius, but like I have met so many wonderful people throughout my life, the good and the bad. I don't like to classify them, but like, yeah. And throughout it, I've just realized that we're an amazing species. We don't realize how amazing we are till maybe probably the end. Do you know, I only just realized that in class today, actually, that my teacher, by speaking to me, she's transferring information that she already has in her head into my head. It's like it's downloading almost.
Yes.
And wow. This is just today. This was just today. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is really happening to me. I'm like, oh, okay, go. So let me go back. Let me get back to class.
It's so true. Do you know what? I think we could talk about. Sorry.
That slide minute, I was blown away. It was like an out of body experience. Sorry.
Well, this is your genius. Is that you have this ability to look at things with a naked eye, where you've got none of the noise that you've grown up with, but you're looking at it for what it is, and you're seeing it for what it is, and you're accepting it for what it is, and you have this kind of realization of like, whoa, you're like somebody that's just had their eyes opened for them, or their ears open to hear things. That's a genius, when you can. I always say to people when they're listening to any of our meetings, you might sit there and go, yeah, I know this stuff. Yeah, I know it. But if you listen as though you're hearing it for the first time, as though you are brand new, you will always learn something new that you didn't know before, even though you think you know this stuff. You go, because you're in a different place, you're in a different context, you're in a different frame of mind, you have a different heart set. So many different things are concluding to let you hear that with a new being. Your being is new at that point. So you can take on new information, or even the old information, and go, I didn't see it like that last time. So now I'm going to do this.
I think you told me that. And again, this is why I think you should become a guru. And I used it, like told me to like listen to stuff like as if it's the first time.
Yeah.
Probably didn't say it to me. You were just saying it randomly, and I was like, what do you mean by that? And I've tried it. I've tried it.
Yeah.
With stuff that I thought I knew, I didn't know nothing. It's I mean, like with things like I thought, like I'm just gonna give a random example. I was doing proprietary estoppel for my coursework, and I thought I knew so much about it. Like I'd
Mhm.
read so much. But I had a conversation with my course lead, and what he told me opened my mind to like, you don't know nothing. It's it's not it's not about like the information per se, it's the interpretation. I was seeing it one way, and he told me
Mm,
that no, that even his way isn't the right way, because there's so many other ways to interpret the same problem.
exactly.
I was like,
Exactly.
but how? This I thought this was the only way. Blew my mind.
It's magic. And that's why I believe that there are all the solutions out there to all of the world's problems. They're already there. And it just takes a bit of collaboration to kind of pull them together. And we'll try that way and we'll try that way. And I don't have the definitive way to collaborate, but I have a really good way. And if anyone wants to come in and add some stuff to that and make it even better, or show me another way entirely, we are learning machines. And we hopefully, if you want a good purpose-led life, you will be until your dying day. Otherwise, why are we here? You know, we have to, and the learning comes in, but it needs to go out again as well.
Yes, you need to share it. You need to share it. And I found that sharing increases your own knowledge base. It's like it helps you, it helps them.
When I was a teacher 100 years ago, they used to say that if a child sits there and learns some information, great, you'll tell them something, they'll take it in. If they listen and they write something down about it, then they take it in, not just for the moment, but for probably 2, 3, 4 hours. But if you tell them to go and teach someone else what they've just learned and what they've just written, it's using all of their senses. And because they're teaching someone else, they have to understand it in order to teach it to someone else. It stays with them for a lifetime. So it's our duty, everybody on this planet, whatever you know, what experience you have, to go share.
Whenever I talk with you, I always feel like I should be writing this stuff down, because it's like I might lose this.
Well, you'll hear it a million times. I always repeat myself. Before I repeat myself anymore, though, I'm going to bring this to a close, because I have a feeling we could go down. Oh, so many. We're going to have part 2, I think, Thierry. We're going to do part 2. If you had a message to all the people that are listening, especially of your generation, that maybe think that something like Collaboration Global is a bit fuddy-duddy, or a bit, it's full of those horrible grown-ups, which I'm not, by the way. One day I'll be a grown-up. What would you say to them in their lives and where they are at the moment? Have you got a message that you want to share?
What I've noticed with people in my generation is the noise is so much, and it's very easy to get bogged down by so much noise. And what I think this is basically just my opinion. I see that the noise is so much, but the adults, some of whom have gone through life and they know how to manage this stuff, they don't seem to understand that the noise is so much that we can't even listen to what the advice they're trying to give us.
Yeah.
So probably my best advice would be just to, first of all, try to find a way to cut off as much of the noise as possible. Listen to someone who has gone through these experiences and learn from them, and then move on. And you will see, like step by step, you will cut off as much of the noise as possible, and you'll be able to just enjoy life for what it is. Yeah.
Beautiful. That is so wise, so wise. Thank you so much for joining us today at Collaboration Global. If people want to contact you, what's the easiest way if they wanted to have a chat?
I will leave my link in profile to the video.
Cool. Okay. And you're also on LinkedIn as well. So if people want to connect up with you, they can do it that way as well. Thank you so much, Thierry. It's been an absolute joy. And if anybody would like to meet Thierry on a Zoom call, he's generally at our Collaboration Global sessions, which are always on the last Tuesday of the month. Just go to Eventbrite and look for Collaboration Global, or go to the website, which is collaborationglobal.org. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you for joining us.